Hello. Uh, in this session, we will be seeing about the IEEE 802.5, which is the token ring protocol. So let's get started. What is IEEE 802.5? So first of all, what is a protocol? Protocol is a set of regulations which help us to uh, do a task correctly. So these are the like a set of instructions or procedures we need to follow while doing this thing. So similarly, IEEE 802.5 is the token ring protocol. So for what this is needed. Uh, so consider a local area network in where consider a local area network. We have like a lot of computers connected to LAN. Say like we have n computers. The n computer needs to transmit a data between one another. So then we need to have a token ring. Uh, like we need to have some sort of things order. So we cannot allow every computer to transmit at the same time, which will account to certain losses. Like the data might not be transmitted. Um, data might not get transmitted properly because there will be some kind of interference of the data packets, so which is not desirable. So we need to have a system to maintain this. So that's why this IEEE 802.5 protocol is defined. So IEEE 802.5 standard for is a standard for token passing ring in a communication network. So what is a token? This is for token ring. So basically, how this data is transmitted here. So this is the thing. First of all, we need to understand. So the computers are connected in a ring topology. So that is the first thing. So all the computers are connected in a ring topology. So that is how this uh, data will be trans. That is what the that is how the data will be transmitted here, or that is the topology of this local area network. So the ring consists of a collection of ring interfaces connected by point-to-point line. So ring interface means it can be switches or end devices itself. So those are called as ring interfaces, and they will be connected by point-to-point lines. So this is how the ring is connected. Token ring is a LAN protocol. As we already said, we have this problem. A computers over a local area network has to transmit data without collision. So that's how this. So that's why the token ring is a LAN protocol, which is defined in IEEE 802.5. Uh, and here, all the stations are connected in a ring, and each station can directly hear only from its neighbor, immediate neighbor. So this is another important thing. So if we have like we have like a number of stations, uh, we will have computers. Each computer will have a left computer and a right computer, and depending on the direction of data flow, or it can hear from any one of the computer. So as if we consider this as the source computer, and this is the direction of the data flow, so it can only hear from this computer. Uh, this computer can only receive data from this computer. So that's how this works. It cannot receive data from any other computers. It can only this way. If it wants to, if this computer wants to receive a data from this computer, it has to flow all the way through this all three computers to go to this computer. That's how this token ring works. And similarly, this computer can only transmit data to this computer. Other than this computer, the computer can't transmit data to any other computer. So that's how this token ring works. Um, no- so the next one will be to if how can we regulate this? What if all the computers are transmitting the data once in the ring? How can it be eliminated? We will be having something called as a special thing, which is called as a token. So, whichever computer holds the token, that alone can transmit the data. So, say example, this computer holds the token. If we consider this computer holds the token, this computer alone can transmit the data, whereas all the other computers can receive the data. So there is no restriction in receiving the data. But if a computer has to transmit a data, it should have the token. So that's the part of the token, and the data is usually circulated in the ring. So token is a special bit pattern, and moreover, there is only one token in the ring network. So the major thing about the why we are using this is to avoid multiple access. So we should not allow many computers to transmit data at once. So that's why we are using this protocol. But if we have multiple tokens, more than one computer can transmit data. So the best thing is, there will be not the best thing. The way to avoid it is, we will be having only one token in the network at a time. So this is how this token ring works. So next we will be seeing about tokens. So what is a token? Uh, so let us take an example and to understand the token better. Let us consider like we are going to a movie. So if we want to enter the movie, we need to have some ticket. Similarly, a data from the computer, if a data from the computer has to enter a topology, or if a data from a computer have to enter a transmission medium, it should the computer should have the token. Then only the computer will be able to send the data. Whichever computer has the token, that computer will can send the data. So that's why this token is required. This token is required to uh, like control the access. So this token is the main thing which is used to control the access. We can think of it as a ticket. So once the data is transmitted, the token will be passed to the next station. So like the computer will be handing over the token to the next computer. So that is how. That is how this is done. So as we can see, if we come to the technical perspective, a token is a special frame. So what is a token in terms of technical perspective? Token is a nothing but it is also a data frame, but it is a special kind of frame. So it is of length 3 bytes. uh, it is a 3-byte frame, and it circulates along the ring of stations. So we will be having multiple computers connected in a ring. So this token circulates along the ring of stations. So this is how this works. This is what a token is. A station can send data frames only if it holds a token. So this is what we are saying, talking about. Only if you have a ticket, you can go to the movie. Similarly, whenever a computer has a token, it can send the data. So before entering into the movie, we have to hand over the ticket. So similarly, the or tokens are released on successful reception of the data frame. So once the data is received by the receiver and the acknowledgement has been received, like the sender sends the data, and once the receiver receives it and sends the acknowledgement back, once the sender gets the acknowledgement back, the token will be released. That's how this is done. So yeah, token is like a ticket. This is the best thing to remember. It will be easy. It will be easy if we remember it in this way. So how the token passing mechanism works in token ring. So this is how the token passing mechanism works. If a station has a frame to transmit, when it receives a token, it sends the frame and then passes the token to the next station. Otherwise, it simply passes the token to the next station. So how this token is created? Uh, for example, this is a connected network. So a token will be created and put into the ring. So for example, let's say this receives the token first. Host one receives the token first. It has some packets to send. So it will transmit the packet through the medium and then wait for the acknowledgement. Once it receives the acknowledgement, it passes the token to the host 2. Let us consider the data flow is in this way, in this direction. So once the host one uh, completes the sending mechanism, it transmits the token to the host 2. And now the host 2 does not have any data to send. So what it will do, it will simply pass the token to host 4. Sorry, this will be host. Simply, it will pass the token to host 3. This is how the data token passing mechanism works. Uh, this is in the if you have to make some more sense, passing the token means receiving the token from the preceding station and transmitting it to the successor station. So this is the thing. So if a computer has to transmit a token, it has to first receive this token from the previous computer, and then it should transmit to the next one, so this computer. So if we consider this as the intermediate computer, so this mechanism, which is denoted in the red arrow, is called as token passing. So the token passing, it depends on the time taken to pass a token depends on the thing, whether a host has a data packet or not. If a host has a data packet, it has to wait until it receives acknowledgement that the packet has been transmitted. Otherwise, it can directly pass. So which will be the propagation delay between host 1 and host 2, and host 2 and host 4, if it does not have any token. So that is the thing. And as we already seen, the data flow is unidirectional in the direction of the token passing. So this is another important point. So we said that data flow is unidirectional. So in which direction the data should flow? So as we said, token is also a data frame, but it is a special frame. So if we are uh, transmitting the data token in a particular direction, then all the other data frames has to travel in the same direction. That is the thing. As token is a data frame, all the other data frame has to follow this, because without token, none of the data transfer can happen. So that's why data flow is unidirectional in the direction of token passing. In order that tokens are not circulated in infinitely, they are removed from the networks once their purpose is completed. So this is the next point. So say a token is created for a particular transmission purpose. uh, like a lot of computer needed to transmit data, and a token is created, and the token is put into the ring, and it is passed over the ring, and all the transmissions are over. So the token won't be passed inside the ring infinitely. The particular token will be removed, and the new token will be created whenever there is another whenever there is a need to transmit the data arises again. So this is how this mechanism works. So now let us see some kind of losses uh, that will happen during the transmission. So first of all, let us see about the ring latency. What is ring latency? The time taken by a single bit to travel around the ring is known as ring latency. So let us take A is the source. Let us consider like four computers are connected in a ring. If we take these four computers, these four computers are connected in the ring. So this is sending a data packet. So this data packet, the time taken to reach that for the data packet to reach it again, that is called as the ring latency. So how can we calculate the ring latency? Ring latency can be calculated by the propagation delay. So the propagation delay between each of the computers. So let us say, consider that. Let us consider that all the propagation delays are uniform. So we can say that d will be the length of the ring, b will be the velocity of the data in the ring, and like the time taken to pass the token is, if we consider that as negligible, so we will be having uh, uh, yeah, if we consider this, this is like instead of the hop time, the time taken to travel from one computer to the other computer. Let us consider that if the data packet travels with same velocity, then we will have the propagation delay. which will be the time in which the data packet will be in transit. So we will have d will be the length of the ring, and v will be the velocity of the data in the ring. So we are considering that all the velocity is equal. So this is the propagation delay. And after that, whenever a data bit reaches a station, it has to be passed. So there will be some other transmission delay will be there. So that is called as bit delay. Bit delay will be number of stations in the ring, and B will be time taken by each station to hold the bit before transmitting it. So this is the bit delay. It has to receive the bit. B will be the transmission delay, TT we will say. So it has to receive the bit. A bit will be received and then processed and then again put back in the transmission medium. Time taken for that will be n into b. And we are also considering that transmission delay is also similar for all the computers. So if we consider those things, we will have ring latency is equal to propagation delay plus transmission delay, which is d by v plus n into b. Next we have cycle time. So cycle time is time taken by the token to complete one revolution of the ring is known as cycle time. So how to calculate cycle time? Cycle time will be propagation delay plus THT into n. So THT will be token holding time. So this token holding time, as we discussed previously, ring latency and cycle time, uh, both will be a bit similar. In the way we have to say they will be analogous. That is the best way to describe it. So if we see, TP will be the propagation delay and THT will be the time in which each station holds the data packet. So if we consider uh, if we consider this analogous, this is for a bit to transfer around the thing, around the ring. So this is a time taken by a token to complete a revolution. So how the token holding time can be determined? So the token holding time differs based on the things like whether the first important thing which affects the token holding time is whether the particular host has any data packet to transmit or not. If a host has a data packet, the token holding time will be increased, which will be like the propagation delay. So that the propagation delay means the delay in the sense the token has to the data has to transmit to the next computer, and the token has to pass to the next computer in order to transmit the data. So that is the thing. And into n computers, that will be the time taken by the token to revolve around the ring. So n will be the number of n will be the number of number of systems in the ring. And as usual, it is a propagation delay, which will be the length of the ring by velocity of a data packet. Here the data packet, in the sense it is a token. Token is also a data packet. So both of their velocity will be same, and the propagation delay for the data packet as well as the token ring will also be same. So next we should deal about the token holding time. How long a ring should hold a token? How long should a host should hold a token? So that is determined. So maximum time a token frame can be held by a station is known as token holding time. So this is the maximum time up to which your station can hold time. So above this time, it can't hold. So the default value will be 10 milliseconds, and no station can hold a token beyond this THT. So that is the thing. So this is the default value, and we can also we can also change this value. So in order to understand how this changes, we need to look into two types of token passing. So which will be delayed token reinsertion and early token reinsertion. So let us see about early token reinsertion first. So what is early token reinsertion? Sender does not wait for the data packet to complete revolution before releasing the token. Token is released as soon as the data is transmitted. Multiple packets present in the ring, less reliable than delayed token transmission. So delayed token reinsertion. So that is the thing. So how the token is reinserted in this method? So this is like the sender won't wait. The sender will send if a station has a data packet, the data packet will be sent out, and at the same instance the token will also be released to the next thing. So the token will be released and the data packet will be released. The next system will transmit the data packet. So it causes to it will like have like a multiple packets to present in the ring, and then it is thus labeled in the delayed token reinsertion. So let us see how this works. So for example, station 1 has the token. Let's say this started from token 1, sorry, station 1. So if we consider this has a, say it has a data packet D1. So it received the token is given to station 1. It created the token, and the token is put into the like it has the data packet. It put the data packet in the ring, and the token simultaneously it put the token in the ring. Now it is transmitted to station 2, and station 2 had data packet D2. So it put data packet D1, D2, and the token. It put first it transmitted the data it had D2. After that, it transmit the data it received data 1, data packet 1, D1, and then it transmitted the token. Once the token is received by the data, like the retransmission will happen only after the token is received. So once a token is received by data station 3, it is getting transmitted. It has a data packet D3, and similarly station 4 had D4. So this is how this early token reinsertion works. So and this one is token holding time. How long a token will be held? So it is very simple. It is equal to the transmission delay. So it will receive the token, it will process it, and it will again put it back in the transmission media along with the data packet. So token holding time will be equal to the transmission delay. So let us next see about the efficiency of early token reinsertion. So if we consider this, token holding time will be time transmission. So if we consider this, the cycle time will be TP into N into T transmission, as token holding time will be TT. So we can calculate the efficiency. Efficiency will be useless time by useful time by useless time. So this is n into t transmission. This is the time which the stations are busy. The propagation delay, and along with like the cycle time for each cycle. If let us consider if a station A in the ring uh, uh, like it gives the token and the data, it transmits them. So how long the station will be in rest, that is the question. So the token has to again make one complete revolution and come back to A. So the useless time will be equal to the cycle time. That is the only difference. So transmission time of all the computers divided by the cycle time. So which results in the efficiency of 1 by 1 plus A into 1 by N. So where A will be time propagation by time transmission. And then the next one will be delayed token reinsertion, DTR. In this case, the sender transmits data packet and waits till the time the whole packet takes the round trip of the ring and returns to it. When the whole packet is received by the sender, then it releases the token. There is only one packet in the ring at an instance. It is more reliable than early token reinsertion. So this is what a delayed token reinsertion is. The sender will transmit a packet and waits till the time the packet makes a revolution and comes back to the sender again. It has only one packet in the ring, and it is more reliable than ETR. So if we consider station 1 will have a token, it will hold the token until this packet completes a rotation. It will send the packet to all the stations, and it will receive when the packet is received back to the station 1, the the station will release the token, and it will pass the token to the station 2. Now station 2 can transmit the tokens which sorry, station 2 can transmit the data frames which it has. So again here time of holding will be transmission delay. So, this is the time taken to transmit the data packet. plus r into latency. So latency. So here latency is the time taken by the packet to travel through the thing. Instead of cycle time, here it is latency. That is the only difference. So if we consider latency, it will be propagation delay plus n into b. Uh, so if we consider, in most of the cases, the bit delay will be 0. So if we consider that, token holding time will be transmission delay plus the propagation delay. That's all. So if we see the efficiency, it is very similar to the early token reinsertion. Here the efficiency this calculated in a very similar time, like with the cycle time. Here the cycle time, here a propagation delay plus n into transmission delay plus propagation delay. That's the only difference. If we add this and make it up, we will get 1 by 1 1 plus a into n plus 1 by n. So that will be our efficiency, and as usual a will be tp plus tt. So that's it for the token ring. Thank you.